Hey there, chatters. I'm Nat.
And I'm Kat, and welcome to The Crime Chat. I am your forensic femme fatale. Natalie's your true crime addict connoisseur, and Bud is our guest.
We're just two normal girls with a bird who are obsessed with dark crimes, evil minds, and occasionally the unknown.
And here's your disclaimer, chatters. The following crime chat contains adult content and descriptions of potentially foul scenarios today. So
I see what you did there.
Y'all listen on discretion is advised.
Dun. You've been warned. Before we get into today's crime chat, Kat, what have you done?
You'll be so proud of me. I finished House of Dragon, and I text you.
I know you did, but I've been kind of like holding off on it. What do you feel? What are you thinking? Tell me.
Okay.
You're disappointed.
I'm disappointed it ended.
Yeah, you got 2 years, girl.
I know.
2 years.
I mean, I get it. Okay. Like, it takes long to, record and edit and, as long as there's no strike in the middle of it, it might come out. It might come out in 2 years. But it was really, really good. It was definitely, I think we talked about it before, it was amping up.
Oh, yeah.
It was amping up for the fight. I have to wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
They had no choice but to end it here because the next step is all-out war, and it's a shit show. So it's either we're going to have one more season with familiar faces before a lot of them go away. No.
So the one that delivered the eggs, when she left, she knew that there was a wild dragon out there, and she finds them. Does that come into play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that would. I'm like, they kind of left that part of the story hanging. So other than that, Debbie downed on both of us. You lost power. I think I didn't. I think mostly for us, it was just the torrential rains. It was just the flooding and everything. And there's been some pretty significant flooding, more towards the coast, but we did have some flooding here. My backyard looked like a swamp for, a couple days. But then we also noticed that we had a roof leak. So, there it is. So Debbie had her downs with us.
Oh, my God.
She's a Debbie Downer. That's about it. What about you?
I've been researching this story with our guest today, Bud.
Well, for your intro this week, you didn't really give me any direction. You said you could do whatever you want.
Yes.
And so I thought, well, why don't we go over some updates?
Oh,
We'll talk about some updates of some of the most popular episodes and downloads of the cases that we have covered here on the Crime Chat.
Okay, cool.
I've got 5, and they're pretty significant, I thought. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Number 1, Robert Hansen, the spy. I had to clarify because we've had 3 Robert Hansens that we covered. So the spy, Robert Hansen, that episode was from season 2, episode 51. Robert Philip Hansen, who received payments of $1.4 million in cash and diamonds for the information he gave to the Soviet Union and Russia, died at the age of 79.
Oh.
The Federal Bureau of Prisons released a statement saying, quote, on Monday, June 5th, 2023 at approximately 6:55 a.m., inmate Robert Hansen was found unresponsive at the United States Penitentiary, Florence Administrative Maximum Facility in Florence, Colorado. Responding staff immediately initiated life-saving measures, staff requested emergency medical services, and life-saving efforts continued. Mr. Hansen was subsequently pronounced deceased by EMS personnel. In 2001, Hansen pled guilty to 15 counts of espionage and conspiracy in exchange for the government not seeking the death penalty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, he died? So he died June of last year, but our episode came out earlier of last year. I think it was in March of 23.
Okay.
So I would have obviously said that if I would have known.
Yeah.
But he died right after that. Number 2, Shayna Hubers.
Ooh.
This was from season 2, episode 52. 2 separate juries convicted Shayna Hubers of murdering her ex-boyfriend, Ryan Poston, in 2012. Both her convictions came 3 years apart, the first in 2015 and the second following a retrial in 2018. Hubers is currently serving a life sentence in Kentucky Correctional Institution for Women on February 25th, earlier this year. Investigation discoveries show signs of a psychopath aired her story in an episode called I'm Not Your Typical Murderer, end quote.
Really? I didn't see that. I gotta check that out. Oh,
Me either.
Okay.
I note your typical murder. Side note, the show Signs of a Psychopath also aired an episode on our next case update.
Oh, okay.
Taylor Shabusiness.
Damn.
Her episode aired June 2nd of this year. Taylor Shabusiness was from season 2, episode 66. As of May 2024, the process started for Taylor Shabusiness to appeal her conviction and life sentence for the February 2022 murder and dismemberment of Shad Therion, but it will likely be months before the grounds of any appeal are known. Shabusiness was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole, plus another 10 and a half years after that, and the jury rejected her insanity defense. According to court records, attorney Greg Pettit was assigned to the case earlier this month, the appellate attorney. Court records do not list any deadlines for them to file appellate briefs, which would state the reasons for or the arguments for an appeal, but that process usually takes several months. After that, prosecutors and Shabusiness attorneys would each submit legal briefs, and then the court would make a decision. So she started her appellate process, and she was on Signs of a Psychopath.
Either way, Shabusiness is a pretty cool name.
Number 4 is Corey Richins.
Oh, okay.
Season 2, episode 61. We covered that case. Corey Richins, the Utah mother accused of spiking her husband's cocktail with a fatal dose of fentanyl, made her first comments since she was arrested last year. Richins, a 34-year-old mother of 3 who wrote a children's book about grief after her husband died, made the recorded comments in May of 2024, saying, quote, "I've been silent for a year, locked away from my kids, my family, my life, living with the media, telling the world who they think I am, what they think I've done, or how they think I've lived. And it's time to start speaking up. You took an innocent mom away from her babies, and this means war," end quote.
She said that?
Now, these comments come after a judge granted her own lawyers to withdraw themselves as her defense attorneys.
Really?
And in response to that, Corey said, quote, "My defense team has been forced to withdraw from my case. Represented or not, we all know and should understand there's only so much I can say. But what I will say is this. Withdrawal was not my choice, and it was not a personal choice of any counsel on my defense team," end quote. I really don't know. I looked into it, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But this also leads into an update, which came out yesterday.
An update on an update?
An update on an update.
Okay.
So as of yesterday that we're recording this, the date is August 9th, a judge denied the motion to disqualify prosecutors, which was a request by Richins' new lawyers who said that her rights were violated. When I read this, it's like they're drawing at whatever strings they can draw at. The judge affirmed in an independent review of the record, they found no evidence that any agent, prosecutor, or whoever of the county's attorney's office intentionally violated attorney-client privilege, nor did they direct jail staff about how to interact with Corey. Richins' preliminary hearing is scheduled August 26th, in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
She faces charges of aggravated murder and other crimes in the death of her husband, Eric Richins, 39, on March 4, 2022. Richins has been held at the Summit County Jail east of Salt Lake City since a judge denied her bail last year. What you think about that?
I think she's exactly where she needs to be.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, she was pulling at strings. It seemed like any technicality she could try for, she's trying for.
Yeah, she's not stupid. I mean, she's a smart girl, so...
Bad with money. Yeah. And our last update is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. This came out season 3, episode 96. Since announcing her pregnancy back in July, Gypsy Rose has received an outpour of support from her followers who have been continuously observing every single move she's made since her release from prison last year. On August 8th, 2 days ago, as of this recording, she posted a picture on Instagram of her in a Walmart store holding an avocado by her stomach. And the post said, quote, "I'm 16 weeks and our little one is the size of an avocado," with an avocado emoji. It said, "I love watching my baby bump grow," end quote.
That's sweet.
Gypsy Rose's journey since being released from jail has not been an easy one. She filed for divorce in March of 2024 from her husband, Ryan Anderson, whom she married while she was incarcerated. She later began dating Ken Erker, to whom she was previously engaged before marrying Anderson. Of the pregnancy and the baby's father, Ken, Gypsy Rose said, quote, "I'm not going to say that I think that a baby will help a marriage or a relationship, because obviously there's the added stress. I know that realistically there's going to be some arguments too. But Ken and I both come from divorced parents, and one thing we absolutely agreed on from day one, even back when we were dating in 2017, is that when we have a child, we will stick together for the long haul. This is a forever thing because we don't want our child to grow up in a broken home, end quote. I don't think sticking together just for their baby's sake. I mean, I get it. You have experience.
Yeah.
But her experience is so much different than, and not to say it wasn't a broken home. It was a broken home, but she was also manipulated and abused. There was so much more that was going on. I don't know.
I think she's glassing over the reality of her situation. She didn't, Did she come from a broken home? Well, more broken than most. Mm-hmm. But then again, I think she's always trying to fit in. She's always trying to be somewhat relatable and relevant.
Well, she doesn't know how.
Right.
She doesn't know how.
No, she doesn't. Yeah, but she's getting there. She's going to have to.
Is pregnant.
She's pregnant.
Gypsy Rose was a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy via her mother, Dee Dee. She served 7 years in prison after confessing in 2016 to convincing her then-boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, to kill her abusive mother. And that's what we got for Crime Chat Case Updates.
Yeah. Have you seen the Love After Lockup?
No, I haven't watched it. Mm-mm.
I haven't watched the entire season, but I catch like these snippets on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got a very disarming presence. You look at her, you still think of a kid.
She wants to be wanted.
Yeah.
She wants to be loved.
Yeah.
And seeing that, from the flip side growing up, Dee Dee could have said that she loved her and was the only one that cared for her and the only one that could take care of her.
Yeah.
But that was out of...
twisted, sick.
Yeah. What's selfishness?
Selfishness. Yeah.
Selfishness. She was selfish and wanting the attention for herself, not caring what she put her daughter through. Gypsy, maybe at the time, felt that was love.
Mm-hmm.
So she has a construed understanding of what true love and authentic caring is. So in my opinion, she does what she can to get love and get attention but she just doesn't know. And I've got a friend of mine who listened to the episode that we did. Anytime there's an update, he's like, "What do you think? What do you think?" So those are our case updates.
Thank you for that intro. Oh my God, those are a couple of good ones.
I was going to say you were going to be surprised. It's not going to lead into your case, but I didn't know what would, based on the fact that we know it's a bird.
This is Bud.
Hi, Bud.
Isn't he pretty?
Buddy want a cracker.
Today we're diving into a story that not only shocked a small town in Michigan, but captured the attention of the nation. This is the story of a seemingly ordinary couple, Marty and Glenna Durham, whose lives unraveled into tragedies. But what truly sets this case apart is that there is a bizarre twist that brought a pet parrot into the spotlight. You heard that right, a parrot. As we peel back the layers of the story, you'll discover how a talking bird named Bud became the unexpected key to understanding the dark events that have unfolded in the Durham's household. Dun, dun, dun.
A normal household is never normal. There is no such thing as normal.
We got a good normal, though. Crime Chat. We have a crime podcast. It's a good normal. It's good.
Is it normal, though? What's normal?
What we say it is, okay? So let's begin. Marty Durham was a man rooted in simplicity. Born January 11th, 1964 in Michigan, Marty was a lover of the outdoors. He enjoyed hunting and fishing. He was a construction worker, and he also was like a handyman. People would say Marty was really great with the kids. He had 3, Justin, Jason, and Jessica, and he was a great provider. Blue-collar man.
Love the Jays.
I just realized that.
We did another story with all Jays.
Marty was just one of those guys you can rely on. He'd be there for you. Glenna was born on December 28, 1966. She had a more turbulent childhood. Her childhood was marked with frequent moves and financial instability, but she also grappled with depression and anxiety. Glenna had 3 children from her previous marriage as well, Yvonne, Wesley, and Josh. When she met Marty in the late 1990s, they quickly became a blended family, like Brady Bunch.
Yes,
3 and 3.
Or Blended. The movie Blended. Have you ever watched that?
No.
Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
Never seen
Classic.
it. Classic. I will
Watch
check it out. Okay.
Yes.
They shared a love for the outdoors and animals, and in 2010, the Durham household grew by one more member, an African gray parrot.
I actually had an African gray growing up. His name was Ricky.
They're beautiful.
And we kept him outside, and he was fucking loud.
Yeah. I have a bird story, but it's not a good bird story. So, growing up in Brooklyn, my parents got me a parakeet. and it was a blue parakeet. It was so cute and so pretty. And my father built like this little perch that the bird can sit on during the day in the dining room, and like a little tray underneath so he could go bathroom in the little tray.
Yeah. So he wouldn't poop everywhere.
Right. So, but it was high up. It was like right near the ceiling. We also had a dog named Frisky. And I remember for like a week straight, I would come home and I forgot the name of the bird. Let's call it Bluey. But Bluey looked different every time. And I couldn't figure out why. Like Bluey would have a little yellow. Then the yellow would be gone.
Was it molting?
Well, Bluey would be bigger or maybe smaller. Bluey wasn't blue anymore. Like it was very...
Oh, your parents changed out the bird.
The dog kept on killing the bird. And my parents were so nervous to tell me the bird, and it happened like 3 times, Kat, like 3 separate times. My mother finally came clean years later when I could mentally handle it. She's like, that wasn't the same bird. Yeah, it was like 3 times.
Well, you recognized it, but then you were like, because you were a kid.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. So they adopted Bud, and little did anyone know, but Bud would be spilling the beans on a mystery that baffled everybody.
They were good for that. They're good for it. Yeah.
So what's a Bud? So Bud is an African gray parrot. They are extraordinary creatures with a lifespan of 40 to 60 years. They are from the rainforests of West and Central Africa. They are a medium-sized bird with light gray feathers and a white mask and a vibrant red tail. These birds are known for their intelligence.
Yes.
But what really sets them apart is their uncanny ability to mimic human speech. Imagine living with a roommate who could repeat every conversation you have almost to like perfect precision. Most of the time it's a party trick, but sometimes they can reveal something that you don't want people to know. So.
Exactly.
On May 13th, 2015, Sand Lake, Michigan was more peaceful than ever until it wasn't. Neighbors were jolted awake by the sounds of gunshots. Alarmed, the neighbors decided to pay them a visit. The neighbor walked down to the house, went to the front door. She went to knock on it, noticing that the door was kind of open just a little bit. Nosy neighbor peered in a little bit. She's like, hello? Is anybody home? Nobody was responding. So she decided to open the door. Yes. She's like, all right, I'm coming in. Glenna, Marty, I'm here.
Announcing herself, yeah. Do you have any flowers?
So when she walks in, she sees Marty on the floor in his underwear, all bloody. And then she sees Glenna on the floor. She was completely dressed, but she had a blanket over her. She assumed that they were both dead. So this is when she called the police. The first EMT arrived. Then they left. Then the second EMT arrived. They left.
Did they go into the house?
Yeah. I guess they were waiting for the police to come in with a coroner, thinking that everybody was dead. I don't know. Crime scene, active crime scene. I don't know exactly what the EMT protocols are when dealing with something like that. You walk into a crime scene before the police can get there. What do you do as an EMT?
Check if there's a pulse.
You would think, right?
I mean...
They assumed that everybody was dead.
That's horrible. They should get fired.
I would think they probably did. They did not check if they were actually dead.
I mean, so the policy does vary by like jurisdiction, state, or whatever. But that is like the first thing you do, especially if the neighbor didn't touch the body. That's that's one less thing to contaminate it if it is a dead body, right?
Right.
I mean, you go over, are they fucking alive? Like, you have to confirm, like, no pulse. They might not be the one who actually calls, like, the official time of death or, like, officially declares somebody dead. That's fine. There's a lot of places that EMTs don't do that.
Right.
They have to wait for somebody certified, to come and do that. But, I mean, damn. Check for a pulse.
I know. And it wasn't just one EMT. It was 2 EMTs. An hour later, the state trooper swung by, but he wasn't there for the bodies. He wasn't there for the crime scene. He was actually there just to pick up the dog, because I guess when you call in a murder and they have animals, like animal control's got to get there and just sort out, like...
Figure out what they're going to do with the pets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe because they had a dog, they were worried about police coming in. They wanted to make sure that dog was put away.
Yeah.
So when he walked past the crime scene, he heard breathing from Glenna. She was alive. He calls his chief right away. He's like, you have to get here. This lady is alive. After he hangs up the phone, her eyes pop open. She ends up going to the hospital.
As a first responder, did he do what he was supposed to do and, like, check her pulse and, like, do vitals and everything? Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Good intentions, right? Good intentions.
The rest of the officers arrived at the home, and they did a proper run-through of the scene. Marty was shot multiple times, and he was dead. Glenna was injured from the gunshot wounds, but it just pierced her ear. It went behind her head.
Mm-hmm.
The scene inside the home suggested a murder-suicide, but they could not find the gun, and something didn't feel right to investigators. Everything seemed great in the neighborhood. Everybody said, I don't understand what happened. This couple is amazing. We've heard this before, but like, this couple is amazing. And
I would have never known. They're the best people.
Yeah, they're a loving family. They're a blended family. Look, they got 6 kids together. They're wonderful. They're always outdoors doing something, boating, fishing, hunting. They were really liked by the community. It was a mystery why this happened. Everybody was just puzzled.
Yeah.
Police were unable to question Glenna because at the time she was in the hospital getting treated. The next day, they let the children back in the house. Marty's 3 kids were just coping with the loss of their father. They wanted answers. So they started looking through the house. They started kind of digging in areas they normally don't go in, like the office or, Glenda's private spaces. They found a big manila envelope in the living room where 3 letters addressed to Glenna's children and her ex-husband. The first letter said, I'm sorry, I love you, and I'm sorry. I've been a disappointment to you these last 12 years or so. Please forgive me. You're one of the best things I've ever did. Love, Mom. The other letter to her ex stated, I'm so sorry, I messed up. Please be there for our 2 beautiful children and our grandkids as you have always been. Love, Glenna. The investigators started doing some digging. What people didn't realize is the Dorms were drowning in debt. They were on the verge of losing everything. What they uncovered was around 2010, Marty gets injured and is put on disability. Glenna, being a good wife, took care of him, and they started collecting his disability checks, which were around $3,000 a month, which was enough to pay for the bills and pay for, once again, they have 6 kids.
Yeah.
So, Marty's family stated Marty was always good with money, so this was not a problem for him. He was good at saving money, he was good at spending money, but everybody said the same thing, that Glenna was not. Glenna was one of those people that money burned a hole in her pocket. People stated that she was also a gambler. So she would go to like the store and she would drop 50 to 100 a day on lottery tickets, scratch offs. She was the polar opposite of Marty. I guess he didn't make a big deal of it because he was also, remember, he's on disability. So he's just thinking, you know what, it makes her happy.
Yeah.
The bills are being paid, or he thought the bills were being paid.
Wow.
Because he was on disability, I guess he figured, we don't go out as much anymore, so this is like the petty cash that she could spend on whatever she likes.
Sure.
What he didn't realize is that she went beyond that. So she was not only spending her petty cash, but she was actually dipping into monies that were meant for things like paying for the car, paying for the mortgage,
bills,
that tax money that you put aside. The repo guy comes a knocking and tries to take the car.
I mean, that's when you know shit's not good.
That's bad stuff.
That's bad, yeah.
And also, medical bills started racking up. Nothing was getting paid for.
Yeah.
He had no idea this was going on. A week passes and the cops get this really weird phone call. Fran Fallon, a self-proclaimed psychic. She stated she was having visions and had information for them to solve this crime. Now, Fran, she's not a stranger. Fran is actually married to one of Marty's cousins.
Oh, okay.
She tells the cops, I see a couch, a love seat. You need to go check it out. And guess what they found?
Bud.
No, the gun! The smoking gun!
Oh, the gun.
I don't know what went wrong here in this crime investigation, because I feel like you would look under the couch.
Absolutely.
You would check a pulse. You would look under a couch.
Yes.
You would try
they're in Michigan?
Michigan, yeah. Michigan. Salt Lake, Michigan, yeah.
Note to self.
It took police a couple of months for them to be able to question Glenna. She was in the hospital during this entire time. When she finally got out of the hospital, she had to go get questioned by investigators. She told police, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Healing has been so hard. And police were like, well, you tried to kill him before you tried to commit suicide. And then she said, no. I didn't pull the trigger. Now, this confused police.
Of course.
They said to her, you shot him and then you turned the gun on yourself. She said, no, I didn't pull the trigger. He was dead already. When I came in, I was so upset that I just took the gun and shot myself. They asked her, like, well, what about the letters? Like, you were writing suicide letters. She said, oh, I don't remember writing those letters. I don't recall that. Glenna tried to explain away all the notes, suggesting that they were just like old birthday card greetings that she was writing and putting together. When they asked her about the letter to her ex-husband, she seemed completely baffled, insisting that any contact with him would have been brief, maybe just a quick note. So there's no way that she could have been writing anything significant. But the questions continued and her explanations just kept on coming, and they started breaking apart, like they were unraveling more and more and more.
Yeah.
Then they brought up the matter of her phone activity. In the early hours of May 13th, from 3:30 a.m. to 4:45 a.m., her phone was busy 5 different times, like 5 different searches. All were related to guns. When confronted about this, Glenna claimed that she had no recollection of these actions, insisting, it wasn't me. I didn't search for those things. When I'm on my phone, I play games like Candy Crush. I have no idea.
She shaggied it. It wasn't me.
That would be me, because you know how many times I am up at 3:30 in the morning, like researching a case?
Yes, I do. I know.
Google history would make us very guilty.
I know.
And we would be totally innocent.
I would hope that if our Google history would come up on any sort of keyword search, that they would also search our names and find that we have a podcast.
I hope so too. Or we just need to invest in getting ourselves a bud.
Oh, bud.
Despite her protests, the evidence was piling up against her, painting an increasingly damning picture. But the most unexpected twist in this case came from the family's Parrot, Bud, who seemed to be repeating a horrifying and heated argument between Marty and Glenna.
No!
Wow. Don't fucking shoot!
After Marty's death, Bud was returned to his previous owner. That was Marty's ex-wife.
Okay.
The bird seemed agitated, continuously repeating a particular argument. Bud mimicked both voices in the argument, saying things like, shut up, get your effing ass over here. And in a voice eerily similar to Marty's, stating, don't fucking shoot. It was as if the bird was replaying these tragic events over and over and over again. This bird probably had some trauma. And you just heard the bird's voice.
Yeah.
Like, that's Marty's voice.
That's creepy.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the idea of bringing Bud in to testify to court wasn't entirely out of the question, because animals have been brought into court as a witness. And you did a court with the piggies before.
I did.
Remember the pig farm killer? You did an intro on how pigs can play a role in the court system.
Yes. I do.
In this case, the prosecution decided against it. Still, the evidence was becoming more clear. Glenna was not a victim in this situation, but rather the prime suspect in what appeared to be a botched murder-suicide.
Yes. Yeah.
The case stirred up intense family drama, pitting Marty's relatives against Glenna's. The family was divided. A year passed with no arrests. Frustrated by the lack of progress, Marty's ex-wife decided to take matters into her own hands. She released a video of Mr. Bud mimicking the argument to the media, hoping that it would shed light on the case. The video quickly went viral, and before long, Glenna was arrested. It's like at every turn, this police department, between the EMT, the crime scene, finding the smoking gun literally 2 feet away, and now not even getting an arrest without the assistance of a bird.
Note to self.
Yeah. So Glenna went to trial on June 13, 2017. While Bud didn't take the stand, the video of him mimicking the argument played a significant role in the case. Combined with the other damning evidence that they already had against her, the goodbye letters, her suspicious search history, the looming foreclosure. The jury was just convinced of her guilt. After 8 hours of deliberation, Glenna was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison on July 19, 2017. Now, It's unsettling to think that she may have gotten away with it if it wasn't for a meddling bird. Hopefully, Bud is rewarded with plenty of treats for his unexpected role in being a winged hero in the fight for justice.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. So that's my story.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
You said to make it lighter, so I brought a bird in.
I mean, it's lighter. That's crazy. She tried to get away with it. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she was found guilty because it's obvious, as incompetent as the police department in Michigan seemed from the start.
Yeah.
They still were able to get her convicted. So, ching, a win.
Yeah. It's alarming how much they messed that up. I think that she was struggling with probably was depressed, holding on to her secret of putting the family into, just debt.
I mean, when your breadwinner goes on disability, you have 6 kids. I mean, that's pressure.
Right.
And maybe she was hoping to win it big at some point and not have to worry about, financially with everything that goes involved with it. But I mean, come on.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah. No, she was definitely playing a different role in her head of what was going on, or I don't know, but I do think that she attempted a murder-suicide. I do think,
of course, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe she had in that last second buyer's remorse and just pivoted the gun just a little bit that way, and but still, no excuse for the two EMTs to just...
The evidence was surmounted against her.
Yeah, she didn't admit to anything.
No.
She said that he was dead already, and Bud proved that he wasn't dead. He was actually arguing with her to put the gun down.
No, don't fucking shoot. That's my Bud impression. Don't fucking shoot! Oh my gosh.
Well,
whatever.
That's as light as I'm gonna go, because we're going back to the blood and the horror. Well, not that this wasn't bloody. But
I mean, it was bloody. It was dirty, but it had a feathery light spin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bud.
And rest in peace, Marty.
Yeah.
So, because we don't leave you hanging, chatters, for more information on this case, please check out After That Crime Chat, only available on Patreon.
And don't forget to follow us. Let me speak in the right pitch. Crime Chat with Nat and Kat on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and X. See what we got going on.
Yes, Crime Chat with Nat and Kat. When you become a VIP chatter to our Patreon, you'll have access to bonus episodes, behind the scenes, bloopers, free merch, and check out some merch in the works.
This one will give some pretty good bloopers, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Be sure to check out our next episode. It is another bonus episode where we are continuing our theme for season 3, female.
Yes.
Serial killers.
I'm excited to find out who you're doing it on. Don't tell me.
Oh, you'll find out.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you will.
All right. Well, you don't want to miss it.
We'll see you on the next Crime Chat. Bye.